welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Convoluted podcast. It's your host, Liz, and I'm here with Tyrant Dominus, aka Jesus. And if it was the first time listening, please subscribe and listen to us. If not, we're not making you, but we would really appreciate it. How you doing, Jesus?
I'm doing well. I've been doing well. I've had a busy week. How about yourself?
It wasn't busy, but just meh.
Meh.
One of those weeks. Meh weeks.
Meh. Well, yeah. It's been enjoyable. I got to spend some time. We did a family movie night. We watched at home, Flaming Hot, that the Hot Cheetos documentary.
Oh, didn't
Yeah.
hear anything about this.
Yeah, it's on. If I remember right, I think it's on Disney Plus. Yeah, it's on Disney
Oh.
Plus. Yeah, it's just the story of how Flaming Hot Cheetos were developed. And do you know what year Flaming Hot Cheetos were first put out? Because when you think Flaming Hot Cheetos, you think they've been around forever, right?
2003?
That's okay. That's your thought. Flaming Hot Cheetos were introduced into the market in 1992.
92. I was gonna go 98 the first time, and maybe I started second guessing myself.
Yeah. Yeah, Flaming Hot Cheetos were originally introduced in 1992. But yeah, it just tells the story of kind of one of the guys who saved the factory he was working in. Introduced like Hispanic flavors into the bland Cheetos. And
Bland Cheetos. Yeah, well, they're kind of bland sometimes. Yeah.
think about it. It was the 80s, 90s. So it's cool. It's an interesting story of just a random janitor taking
Random janitor.
Yeah. It's a fun story. I really liked it. It really vibed with my family. So it's your classic like Hispanic family. It was like, oh, that's funny. All these things we get these funny. Like most people would get it too, but it's like it hits a little bit more different for me and my family. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to watch that with everyone. I actually, by the time everyone's listening to this, you guys should probably already see that there's a bunch of new reaction casts for TV shows and a movie that just came out recently called Insidious: The Red Door, the finale to the Insidious franchise that we just finished watching that the night prior. Interesting finale, enjoyable. I can do a mini recap here. It's a fun watch if you like that franchise, the Insidious franchise. It's a decent way to finish. But yeah, it's kind of been that kind of week where it's just like constantly, mostly with a lot of things happening outside in the world. Like the new Twitter just came out. Well,
You okay?
huh? Yeah, well,
It has?
well, kind of new Twitter. You how much of the Twitter news do you know / have been talked about within your circle at work?
Nobody's talked about it.
No.
Nobody's been that interested about it. I'm sorry.
That's actually surprising.
Not sorry.
Well, surprisingly, that's kind of the well, like we all know that you're not very internet focused in the world. You kind of try to stay away from that. So you don't know how kind of the downfall of Twitter and how they in this prior week they put a limit of how many posts you can read. Imagine if you were on Facebook and said like you're only allowed to read 100 posts per day.
Fuck no.
So imagine
No.
Twitter when every random tweet is considered one impression and that's your allowance. And some people when originally
Are we children? For God's sakes, we're not children. We're fucking adults.
Well, the state. Okay, so the state of Twitter is a whole thing, right? Ever since Elon Musk bought it a few months ago, and
No, I'm aware about that. Buying it, he bought it.
Yeah, but then it's the way he's been running it, and Twitter for sure. Most social medias are running at a loss. They don't make money. They barely ever break even. So trying to subsidize all that like loss in some way or another, and by one reason he decided like, oh, let's put a limit on how many times individuals can read a post because that takes up like data and stuff, and that should reduce the cost. But people are hooked to Twitter. Look at how you've been addicted to TikTok.
TikTok.
Like to this day, I'm like, damn, I should never have introduced her to TikTok. But
Shouldn't have.
but it's one of those things that's like when it comes to social media, their job is to try to grab individuals' attention. They're trying to grab your attention for as much of your day as possible. Like Twitter wants you to stay on their app for hours. TikTok wants to do the same. Everything, they just want to stay on our platform. Do not go somewhere else. So why would a company where people are on it say like, okay, you're only allowed to be on here for a certain period of time, and then you can't use it anymore for the rest of the 24 hours? Someone actually, when the original limit for a normal user, one that doesn't, some people can pay. So you don't know this, but some people can pay for Twitter.
Yeah, I think I've heard about like they can pay for Twitter. I'm like, why? Oh yeah, for the blue check mark or something like that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother debate. But anyways, they had a bigger limit. I think originally, I can kind of look it up, but it doesn't really matter at this point because they've updated. But originally, a person who's been on Twitter for a reasonable amount of time got 800 reads, and a paid Twitter user got like 4,000. But anyways, a regular person, if you just scrolled quick through everything, because every post is an impression, someone went through their entire thing in less than 3 minutes. So 3 minutes and done. You can't use Twitter for the rest of the day. So that kind of will kill a platform where your source is to keep your audience engagement, right? Like what keeps you on Facebook and on TikTok?
I don't think anything keeps me on Facebook. I just check it every once in a while. I'm not consistently on it for like an hour or anything. It's like more like maybe 20 minutes, but I'm all over the place, whether I check memories, checking the personal, up, somebody else's updates, news. That's, well, I know some of our articles got up here, but really like maybe 20 minutes tops on Facebook, and then TikTok. I can spend about an hour or so on it. I don't keep track all the time. Sometimes it's just I'm in for like the couple episodes I want to see, and then I walk away. That's it. So
Yeah,
because I have other things to do.
it's keeping you engaged. Basically, they're trying to
Yeah.
they're feeding you stuff that you want. They want you to see. Like they think you want to see. Basically.
Yeah. Of course,
Uh,
that's all over the place, so it's even fun.
exactly, because then it'll then tangent you off like, oh, check this out, and then you just go into another rabbit hole. That's kind of works with any social medias, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, just anything that they try to keep you on their site as soon as possible. But yeah, Twitter has limited it. I don't know if they've changed it as recently, but they have been upping the limits every every couple hours. Like, oh, people are leaving our site. Like we're losing engagement. But to get to this point, basically, so recently the next Twitter has just come out because
Isn't it a different name? I might have heard that.
well, it's not really.
Can't remember.
It's not new Twitter. It's just a new platform basically that's supposed
Yeah,
to be
but I
like.
can't remember the name of the platform name. It was like I remember it, and it was stupid or something silly.
It's called
Boba?
Threads.
A Threads. That's
It's
right.
called Threads. So Threads is brought to you by our fearless leader Mark Zuckerberg, the guy who owns Facebook and Instagram. So basically, just a add-on to that family of stuff. So the way Thread works is, it's basically close. I'm not gonna say like because it could be it's probably will end up being a legal battle, but it's similar to Twitter. You can do set up a thread, just chat on there like you would on Twitter. There's likes. It's integrated to Instagram, so you can't delete your Thread account without deleting your Instagram account. And your Instagram account is linked to your Facebook account. There's a lot to it. A lot of people have been digging into it more and more. But it definitely within within the recording of this, it's been roughly less than 72 hours, less than 3 days, and boy, they've had over 80 million users sign up for Threads. Just like skyrocket. So they are taking the market. You know, it's one of those things like people don't want to be on Twitter anymore. People want. It's like you might not know exactly what's happening on the Twitterverse side of the world, but it's pretty bad. And I think we get some of the stories from here because of Twitter actually. And it's one of those things where it's like, we'll see how this new platform works. It's already has some benefits compared to Instagram, but it's new. It's in its early infancy. But since it's a system where it's already worked with two other social medias, they already have Facebook and Instagram, so they kind of already know like how to handle certain things. And since it's integrated to Instagram, a lot of your followers that were on Instagram just kind of transfer over to your Threads. I've actually, my Threads account, for some reason I have like 15 followers already, and I've yeah.
Wow.
I haven't posted anything at all yet. I just made it just so I can make sure.
Sure, it's not bots. Dun dun dun.
So this is an interesting feature actually. People can't follow you sometimes without a request actually. Like they request for you so you can block people. Or not block, but like say like ignore. I don't want to follow you, or you don't follow me. So there's some interesting features already in advance. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I'll probably using Threads to showcase some of the podcast stuff like that. What's useful, the original reason I kind of like made sure I got my Threads account immediately is just to make sure I get my username, because when it comes to anything online, you want to have your name uniformed and everything. So I might try to make sure I have Tyrant Dominus on everything, so no one can take it. But luckily, since it was tied to my Instagram account, it just transfers over, like same one. Like, oh, easy, simple, done.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been seeing it. It's a little not janky, but the way their algorithm works, it's kind of like it's still early. So I've been seeing some things that I've like never seen before. Then there's some people like I follow too there, but it's like one of those things where, like I said, it's still early. And for some reason, the one that surprised me, which is not too surprising, is like I think it was Selena Gomez already has 1.7 million followers.
Of course.
And I'm like, damn. But remember, like I said, it transfers over from Instagram, so she might be just her Instagram follower. But yeah, we'll see how Thread works, and we'll see what the news for Thread is. It's only been, like I said, it's in its infancy. We'll see how Twitter responds. I know Elon Musk likes to joke about some of these things, like, yeah, it's gonna die soon. It's new. We'll see. But some competition is good. That's all that really matters. Like, you want competition. That's one of the things you want when it comes to these like platforms. Like, you want, for YouTube, there's no real big YouTube competitor out there. For Twitch, one just popped out recently, and it's been making some headways with Kick, pulling people for hundreds of millions of dollars a contract. And it's like, you want competition in markets, and for Twitter, it's really there's really no other major platform out there that does what it does, you know. So we'll see how Thread goes. We might have more stories if it's something crazy happens, but people are enjoying it so far. We'll see if they ruin it in one way or another.
Of course, they always do. You know that.
True. That's a social media game. You know, you will see. And luckily for you, you don't have to dive into it unless I bring it up. Because boy, I think you'd be worse off. You'd be worse off. You already have enough on your plate.
Yeah, I've already enough.
So how's your overall week been besides the
It's been okay. Just cruising along. I had a nice holiday. 4th of July was pretty good. It was mellow.
Yeah. I forgot about I literally forgot about that.
Oh yeah, you were sleeping most of the time, so it's okay.
It worked out.
And you're awake at night.
Yeah, since the sun did not set till 9. Okay, so I slept up to 8 o'clock, got out. Was surprised to see how many people were at my place. So it worked out. It worked out. Like I got to sleep the day away and enjoy the barbecue and the fireworks in pure excitement. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but besides that, how was your fourth?
I mean, I got to see one of my besties. Shout out to her, and she was. We had dinner, and then I left a little early so I could get home, so I could try and wind down for bedtime. And I think I was in bed a little after 10 o'clock, just because I had to work early in the morning. And yeah, yeah, it was okay, and then it was just, like, crazy in the ED. We had, like, 40 plus 40-ish, 40 plus patients all day in the ED. It was crazy. That means, like, people who are still in the ED to go to rooms, and I had at some point during the afternoon, I heard, like, "Oh, we don't have any rooms for them up on the floor." I'm like, so they're all gonna be boarding up in the ED at some point, so, of course, the next day, Friday, and I'm like, at least they're all here, and I don't have to go tracking for them." But yeah, it was just crazy.
Damn.
This
You,
and
you,
that.
you guys didn't do any fireworks?
No, we
Mm,
had so many fireworks blowing up around us anyways, it was fine. And windows were vibrating, going like I was like, "Okay."
damn. Yeah, around our neighborhood, it felt like there wasn't as many fireworks, but I don't blame people. They were apparently because I personally didn't really go out. I had some fireworks from last year still to just get rid of. But my siblings and my cousins went to go pick up fireworks, and they said they were freaking expensive. Freaking like I don't blame.
Expensive, and then, fire warnings. I don't know if you
That
the
too.
next town over from us was actually on a fire. Like, they banned, like, selling and banned, blowing them off.
Damn.
So,
But
like,
yeah,
next town over, literally. I'm like, "Okay."
so yeah, like I can feel why people like we always joke and talk about it. It's like one of those memes. Now at this part of the show, the economy's just really bad. Like you can't even enjoy um fireworks for the most part. If you're doing it safe and then you're enjoying it an activity, not just to waste money or just to blow fireworks. You're like, that's what we did. We were having a barbecue, sat around, watched fireworks as just everyone just chit chatting, enjoyed the show. Um, and it's one of those things where I'm like, uh, we had a good chunk, but boy, when they told me the price tag of the all our fireworks together, I was like, oh my god, like I can't. When you're getting to four digits, I'm like that much out there.
Yeah, that is a little expensive. I mean,
But you pay for the entertainment and for being with everyone for that moment.
yeah, it
But
was fine being with everybody who I wanted to be there around that day. Um, I know there was a lot of because there's a lot of fireworks displays still around our area, so I was able to watch from like when I was walking my dog because it was so hella hot until 10 o'clock at
oh
night.
god,
So
yeah,
it was like, okay, it was still 80 degrees at 80 plus degrees after 9 o'clock, and I was like, okay, well, my dog needs to go out for a walk. And so I waited until about 10 o'clock to do it because then I think it just dropped very low. Or like it was either a cuss on the 80 or 79. I was like, okay, now I really can walk him because I really have to go to bed. So
there you go.
yeah, crazy, crazy.
Fun time, fun time. But
But
at
I could
least
watch them blow up around me. There was like neighborhoods still blowing off M80s and stuff like that. And I think one of our neighbors were doing it too. So yeah, but we were seeing them all around. It was like, that's cool.
for if you can do it. If you can't, enjoy the ones around you. I there's
Hmm.
like there was people who were walking by. People were doing their walks, and they sat in the corner watching. I'm not gonna say don't watch our fireworks. It's just fireworks. Enjoy it.
Hmm.
If just that's what it's there for, to enjoy for everyone. It's one of those things I wish we knew our current neighbors a little bit more, because we've changed over a lot of neighbors to do kind of a block party style thing and just like blow a bunch of fireworks as a block party. That'd be kind of cool. Actually, that'd be kind of cool. Actually, I might be something for. We'll see.
We did when I lived in my older neighborhood. We used to do that too because we're a cul-de-sac, so we were able to,
Look at
we
that.
could block it off, and we had a fire department person like right next door, so we were good. We were safe.
There you go. Actually, yeah, I might actually look into that. See, because we have a few neighbors that've been here for a while, and then we just had a rotation of So we'll see. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I haven't had a been a long time. I don't know if they probably around the around the country, around the world, people do block parties, but I haven't seen a block party since. So one of those things. All right, let's get jump into the news because we've been chit chatting a lot, and I don't know if the people are still here. If you are, thank you. Let us know if you're let us know how your week has been, how your fourth has been, what's been happening down in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, if you're on any of the social, if you're on any of the other podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, all those other ones, let us know through social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now Threads. Let us know through that as well. Just to see how
TikTok too, because I've done some TikToks.
there you go.
I haven't done it recently, but I've done it.
So let us know how everything been. But yeah. So before we get into the story, don't forget, if you want to help support us, don't forget to spread the podcast using all those social medias. Word of mouth helps a lot as well. Just tell people about the show. It's just me and Liz just hanging out, chit chatting, bringing it up, talking about some of the weird and convoluted news stories that are happening around the world. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and sometimes they're just goddamn stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to help us financially, you can help by subscribing to all our bonus episodes. Me and Liz are revving up to get a bunch of new stuff. We've had fun ideas. We just haven't gotten around to record them. But boy, there's some fun ideas for the next season coming up in a few weeks. We are ramping up the new style of how this show is going to look. A bunch of fun new things. Like, it's going to be great. But if you want something more physical, and support us as well, you can pick up merch at merch.tyrantdominus.com. Link down below. If you want to help us support, you can catch a Convoluted t-shirt or one of our inspirational shirts that are only limited for 5 weeks when they get released. Or if you want to support Reaction Cast, you can get a Reaction Cast shirt as well. But yeah, every little bit helps the show just alleviate some of the costs that we put into this show, because it does take a little bit, and we enjoy doing it, so we do put in the money, but a little to cut off some of it would. Well, yeah.
Yes.
All right then, guys. Let's Liz start us off with the first story.
Subway faces backlash over distasteful sign referencing Titan implosion. On July 1st, Brooklet, Georgia resident Timothy Mock posted a photo that has since gone viral. In the image, a sign outside the Subway and sandwich shop in nearby Recon, Georgia reads, "Our subs don't implode."
Damn. we did a whole story for one of our episodes. What episode was
It's
165? Even our thumbnails are really bad. I'm not gonna lie. It was like I made that into a Mr. Beast style video using Charlie in the center. Like, I survived, and even the title, "I survived 3 days underwater." Like, you kind of have to get the clickbait a little bit, but yeah, it's not. It's a little early, but sometimes you gotta clickbait. But anyway,
Yeah.
we it's not as bad as what other people did, and we talked
Oh,
about that.
I know.
We talked about that. So if you really want to know our full thoughts on the Ocean Gate fiasco, catch episode 165. I think that's what I said, right? Yeah, catch that. That has our full discussion and interview of everything. But it looks like it's still going to be discussion, and it looks like other people are using this same stuff. So continue.
This time referenced a recent tragedy, which dominated headlines in late June when 5 people aboard Ocean Gate's Titan and submersible died after it imploded tens of thousands of feet below the surface of the water. The submarine was on voyage to see the wreck of the Titanic before it lost contact with those aboard above on June 18th and went missing for 4 days. After wreckage of the submersible was found, the U.S. Coast Guard confirmed all 5 passengers' death on June 22nd, saying debris found consistent with a catastrophic implosion. Reaction to the image was mostly ranged from utter disbelief to anger. "That's just wrong," commented one Facebook user. "That's just disrespectful as fuck," commented another. But it was if it bet if that was their family, they wouldn't think it's so funny. This is so tacky to say the least. That's that way. Is this your store in Recon? That not only is it disgraceful, just sad. Do better. But there are some people supporters of the sign who found the joke funny. I'm sorry, it's so wrong, wrote one person on the Reddit, where the image was spread like wildfire. But it made me chuckle. I chuckled too. It actually clever humor, but its nature's insults. Someone insults someone every time. We should lighten up. We reached for the comment. Subway confirmed it was aware of the sign, and they say it's spoken to the franchise about it. Been in contact with the franchise about the matter and made it clear that its kind of comments are no place in our business. A Subway spokesperson tells Today the sign has since been removed. A follow-up post mock confirms that in an image July 2nd, the Subway sign now plays blank.
Okay, so
Aww.
all right, so we gotta
I
get
like when
this.
they come up with funny stuff. I like watching those signs. Are funny, especially. I mean, we gotta lighten up. Death is not funny to the people that it happened to, but we should make fun of the spirit of it, because if we let this ruin our like a whole mood the whole month, it's not going to be funny. It's just, we have to lighten up. We all have to have some sense of humor. If we don't, we're just heads in the water, stupid.
Damn, but it's also from coming from Liz, who didn't care that they died. So,
They were all
but
freaking rich. Come on, they were trying to avoid death. Did they really though?
Anyways, yeah. So yeah, when it comes to dark humor, for sure, it is it's its own flavor of humor, right? And it's not for everyone. Yeah. That's a definite. But it is one of those times where it's a sensitive topic, really. And
yeah, it is sensitive.
Depending on individuals, things like that. But here's the thing: some people just like take the high road on certain things, like they shouldn't. It's not really that like not worth going on uproar. There are so many things in the world that I'd
rather be in uproar about the LGBTQ community and how they're not being supported, or trans, not able to change their gender on their thing. Come on.
No, Liz, that is not important. We need to change.
No, I know.
We need to change the sign on that
subway sign. It's not important that women's rights are screwed.
No, that's not important. Okay. We need to change that subway sign. That is more important. We need to get the populace together to change that subway sign. Okay, that's what's important here. Actually, you transitioned to the perfect next story that I want to talk to, but
okay,
we'll talk about it in a second. But it's one of those things where we're in that moment where it was like they made a joke on South Park. It's like, when can you make fun of AIDS? Right? Like like I think it was like 7 years or something. That was a joke. Like 7.5 years or something. Like, when can you actually make a joke about a tragedy? Like, it's one of those things, like, you can't really say 9/11 jokes. People say them, but like, when is it? Like, there's really very few things you can and can't do. But that's kind of also a taboo. Like, it's like, it's just this is one of those spheres where it's like, what can you say in public as far as what a joke is concerned and what is not? It's like trying to say like racist jokes. Like it's
we only spill those between each other, okay? So don't tell the whole world what we do.
You see, that's the thing. It's when it becomes a sensitive topic with anything. It's when the people get like they take it upon themselves to get mad about other things. I think the families, if they knew about it, they have other problems to deal with. They have their family just got lost. They probably have legal battles to deal with and other things. I don't think they care about a subway out in, where the fuck was this? Georgia. Recon, Georgia. Recon, Georgia. I don't think they care about this. The people do.
The normal populace, the poor populace have to say something. They're not getting a bite of that money either. So
it's one of those things where it's like, it's also the other side of the coin where it's like, it's a company. You kind of have to, you're representing a larger entity. Like, you got to be really careful what you can and can't say. Like, if you can ruin your livelihood and the livelihood of your staff because of some dumb joke. Like, it's funny, but is it worth to kind of like lose all
That's your
that,
job.
lose your job and lose the jobs of your team, and then just once again, just keeping the poor poor.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts here?
I thought it was pretty funny. I have more of a sense of humor. Obviously, my last TikTok was kind of morbid, but like I said, we have to somehow make fun of things that is dark, but we have to have a little sense of humor in life. If we don't, we just like I said, duds in the water. We're just like we're waiting to drown. So I rather not drown. I rather live, laugh at the shit while I can.
Okay, we have two stories, one containing women's rights and one containing drowning. What do you want to talk about?
Oh man, I transitioned that too well, didn't I?
Yeah, you get to choose one of the two. Drowning or
Oh,
women's rights.
to women's rights because I'm apparently just an object sitting in a corner soon.
Oh, better. It's one of the people representing women's rights these days has some things to say. So
Oh boy.
give us one moment, people.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're back, everyone. All right, ready?
Ow.
So recently, one of the advocates for women's recently has been. Did you get a little sneak peek, or have you not?
Yeah, I took a sneak peek. Shit.
Liz, you never. You're not supposed to.
Davis has racked up a legion of online followers and plenty of breathless newspaper coverage by sharing her incendiary views on modern feminism. The New York Post called her the female Andrew Tate. So she tapped into genuine female pushback to the excesses of wokery, or is she just an attention seeker? We'll find out in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the clip.
So this is more going into the space where we really don't touch about too much. We joke about it a little bit. But
a little bit.
well, we joke about it, but we don't like we're not like actively like researching and doing any of this stuff.
No.
Like when do we have the time of day to actually do stuff? But there's like people
Seriously, don't.
like there's people like who do like their job is to do this, like Piers Morgan here, who himself is he's an interesting individual in his space for sure. He has his interesting opinions, but he at least brings on guests and kind of pushbacks somehow. I've seen this video 3 times already. It's really funny. But but like it's one of those things where it's like, so do you know some of the names that were pop up? Like, do you know anything about Pearl Davis? Okay, do you know who Andrew Tate is, at least? Or the name?
Maybe.
Oh, I'm actually surprised.
I'm terrible with names. Like if I can see faces, I'll recognize them. Names, not so much. I'm terrible. Like I recognize actors' faces. Do I remember names all the time? No.
Okay. Anyways, so just a quick recap of who Andrew Tate is, really quick, because that's who they're referencing. Andrew Tate is kind of the current icon individual, the man that every young man is trying to strive for right now. He's the guy who's really recently been arrested for human trafficking down in Romania.
Jesus.
And he's been very popular during 2021 and 2022. He's like one of the head figureheads of the manosphere that's happening right now. We're all just kind of the macho kind of bravado kind of thing. That's where you've been getting all these things from. But now we're getting the female version of that. So
Sent her viral.
A lot of people think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote. Everybody thinks I'm crazy for this opinion. If anything, this is probably my most extreme opinion. 90% of women have been on birth control. 1 out of 3 women has had an abortion. 1 out of 3 women has an STD. Average body count is over 5, so that your average wife has slept with over 5 people. 95% of women are not virgins on their wedding days. So I understand the complaint.
So that's kind of just one of the many things I've actually watched like an hour and a half interview / debate with her on the H3 podcast. We've watched a little bit of some segments from that show. But yeah, she does a whole interview with them, and it was like interesting to see. So seeing her here with Piers Morgan in a face-to-face, I wanted to see how that worked. But Did any of those vibe with you, Liz? Did any of those like yes, that
Fuck
should.
no. I mean, some of the statistics, yes, but what?
Bruh.
So what?
Okay, let's continue then.
Okay, well, Pearl joins me now alongside political journalist Ava Santini, who was nodding furiously along there to everything she heard. Right, Pearl, you've be called the female Andrew Tate. How do you plead?
Well, I take it as a compliment. You know, I'm a fan of Andrew Tate.
Of everything he says?
It depends what we're talking about, but overall, I think he's got a good message. I think he's good for young men.
Okay.
So I'll just say a quick thing. It's good to look up to certain people, but you should never 100% agree to what someone's value is. Like no one's perfect. Like you can agree about a certain points about something, but then you can't agree with every one thing about everything. So at least she has one decent take here. Like, yeah, I agree with some of his stuff, but not everything. Like that's at least one. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, she's gonna make it hard later. But it's one of those things. Like there's a lot.
Okay, look, you're talking about women predominantly, which is why you've got this big following. And your view is that modern feminism is deeply flawed. I would argue a lot of your proposals, like taking the vote away from women, are deeply regressive. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to remove, just from yourself, the right to vote?
Well, what happened was I had the same view, right? Back when I started, I was like, why? I found out that only 5% of women wanted the right to vote. And I couldn't figure out, like, why would women not? No, it's true. It's true. If you look it up.
At the time.
At the time.
Because they've been conditioned by men to think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean, that's what they say. But, you know, I started reading their writings, right? And what I found out was that the reason a lot of women advocated for it was because they believed it was the beginning of the breakdown of the family. You know, before you became one in marriage, 85% of people were married. And, you know, I hate to say it, but they were right. What has happened 100 years later?
What's that got to do with them having the...
Okay, so there's a lot to confine in there. So what are your initial thoughts, feelings with just kind of that statement? There's a lot in that statement.
I really don't think it's 5% of people voting. Maybe in her area.
No. In the past, only 5. So what she's saying is, in the past, when women were getting their right to vote, only 5% of women wanted the right to vote. The other 95%, they didn't care. But Pierce is saying, like, it's because women were conditioned to not want to vote. So what she's stating is that in the past, there was a very low number of women that actually wanted to vote. That's what she's saying.
I don't know if that's true, maybe, but that was 100 years ago. Things have changed in 100 years. Women have more rights, but of course we're still fighting for our individual rights because we're still fighting in a man's world. But yeah, I think he's right in the fact that, you know, we were conditioned back 100 years ago to not vote, not to do our own thing. Women were to rely on men.
Okay, so she has a reason for that too. All right, let's just rewind a little bit.
And, you know, I hate to say it, but they were right. What has happened 100 years later?
What's that got to do with them having the vote?
Well, it also goes back to responsibility. Again, men are 80 to 90% of the military. They run all of the infrastructures that make society run. So I just think if we want an equal say in society, then be equal. Do 50% of the hard jobs. Be 50% of the military. In the U.S., they're fined $250,000 if they don't join selective service, which is essentially the draft.
Okay, but on
Wait, is that right? I forgot. I didn't actually look that up. Is that?
I don't know.
Let me see here. Let's do a little lookup. So what are your thoughts right there, just for that while I'm looking this up?
I get it about, you know, wanting to do 50% of the hard jobs, but it's very hard for women to get into that.
Oh wow. Okay, so she's not wrong in a sense. It's up to $250,000 fine or up to 5 years in imprisonment. Failure to register, which I think they won't. I don't think they'll actually go that far for not signing up for elective services. They might fine you like, I think, like $100 or $500. I don't think they will go the full $250,000. I don't think we're
Nobody
that
has that fucking money.
exactly. So yeah, I think they'll do a very light fine. Like, hey, you didn't fill out this form, fill it out, or you're gonna get fined $100. No, like, oh, okay, I can do a quick paperwork, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I think she's also making a note that I think only men are required to sign the selective service program. I think there is a way for women to do it, but there's like a whole other process for that to even be possible.
Yeah, that sounds exactly what I was saying. It's harder for women to get into it. So
I don't know if people would want that. Like, I was like, damn.
I don't know. Some women are built for it. I'm not built for the military.
Okay, so for anyone listening who doesn't know what the selective servicing, it's basically just being signed up for a draft. If we ever get a draft, you just go to the army. That's basically what selective service is. In simple terms, there's probably more to it, but in simple layman terms, selective service is being signed up to be drafted in case the draft happens, which we haven't had a draft in a very long time. I think the last one was when was the last? This is one where you can Google shit, right?
Yep, Google it.
Last U.S. draft.
I thought it was 1960s, but I thought that was for mostly men.
1973 for
73.
What war was happening there? Was that Vietnam?
War?
I think it was
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah,
Vietnam. So yeah, so the last time the draft happened was during Vietnam, and it's very, very unlikely that we'll ever get drafted. We have at least America, we just celebrated its birthday, have a very powerful army, so we're pretty much okay. I don't think we have to worry about draft. But yeah, it's we'll see what more. But yeah, it is difficult for some people who want to be part of that and like more respect to it. Like, I did it because I saw the paperwork. I more than like when it comes to governmental paperwork, I look it up, fill it out if I need to. You know, like I was not like I was pretty okay, like knowing that I'm pretty good. What was happening in the world state at that point. But for those who want to be part of that, you know, did any of your brothers worry about being part of selective service, or did you ever want to be part of selective service in your? I think it's when you're 18, right? If I'm remembering correctly, or when you graduate high school. Is it 18 or high school? I forget.
I think it's after. I think when you turn 18.
Okay.
Because my older brother was military, so he was already enrolled at that time. He did 20 years of service.
So he just skipped the selective service. Like, I'm going just straight in.
Yeah, basically. I don't know about my oldest brother because obviously by the time he was 18, I was maybe 3 years old at the time. I wouldn't have known. And I don't know if my young brother, I think he might have filled out some of the paperwork. I'm not positive. So I don't think I remember seeing it, but I could be wrong. Maybe. It's been a long time since 18.
And it's not like something you discuss really. Like, go over your
it's not something we discussed openly. It's not something we, like, oh, let's just use paper, sign it, and just go. It goes away.
What about you? When you heard about it, did you ever think about being a part of it, or at all, or it's just like, oh, I don't worry about it. Just
I don't think I worried about it. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've been 18, so we're looking at 17 years. I'm almost double the age.
Okay, let's continue then.
Specifically on the vote, what would having the right to vote have to do with family cohesion, for example?
Well, because again, before you weren't trying to divide a family. It was one family unit. You had one vote for the family. I mean, I don't think it's good for a family to have two votes.
Ava, you're
We're not allowed to have opinions, it sounds like.
So any thoughts on that, or do you want me to continue? Like, do you have any, like...
What? I just don't understand how, like... Okay, so women are not to have any opinions, it sounds like. It was all man's drive. So even though she could put her input, the husband would be like, what I'm going to do, what I want to do. I'm checking this box. I don't like that box.
For the most part, I think that's what she's saying. That's what we can extrude. It's like there's a very short interview, but that's what we can extrude from this. But we can continue. See what she has to say. She does have a count. There is another person on the other side of this debate, so we'll see what she has to say. So this is Pearl. We're talking. Who's the other person?
Mouth seems to have dropped
No,
about.
do you know
I
when it's
know.
sort of
I
like,
know, I
no, it's
know.
just sort of a bit
Ava?
galaxy brain. I feel
Ava,
like, you know,
okay.
the stats that you're putting down are perhaps correct in some universe.
Which stats?
They just kind of don't really add up. I mean, just to take you back to the to the women's writings that you've allegedly read. I mean, at
Allegedly?
The time, well, at
What
the
do you
time
mean
that-
allegedly?
At the time that you're talking about, you know, women weren't really allowed to write. They weren't allowed to go to school. A
Yes,
lot of
they
them couldn't
were.
write.
Yes, they
So
were. That's
actually, well,
incorrect. The first
okay, what
female
year are we
property, the
talking
first
about?
female property owner was in the 1600s. The idea that women couldn't work and couldn't.
I'm so sorry, but that would be inherited
No, the
property.
first female millionaire was in the late 1800s.
And was that
So,
inherited?
no, it wasn't. It was self-made.
It
She was.
wasn't.
No, yes,
It was
it was.
self-made.
Yes, it
And
was.
she never
She was.
inherited
Yes,
land.
yes, she did not
And what law
inherit it.
permitted that?
Okay, we're also getting to the point where, like, if you watch some of her other like debates, you start to notice that she's a really bad debater. So
She's not even allowing this lady to talk, like give her opinion. She was sitting there quietly. Yeah, she was laughing at some of the stuff, but she has every right to, make emotions,
Get her point
but
out.
not like.
Get
But
her
she
point-
hasn't. She got her point out. Why don't we let Ava have her point out?
Yeah, basically-
should learn.
just like a reasonable debate. I don't know how much debate you know. I know very little, but I know a little bit enough to know where you're allowed to put your statement. Then there's the rebuttal. Then you rebuttal back, and then there's like a final statement. That's like kind of the simplistic way that I know how debate works. And you're supposed to let your opponent at least put out a statement. You process what they're saying, and then kind of go from there. But it's like more to back and forth.
She's not even allowing the words in.
So let's continue. But any thoughts on what she was saying, what Ava or Pearl was saying in these points?
I
at all?
couldn't really. There's too much going on.
All right, let's continue then.
What
law permitted that?
Well, there was no law. I mean, there's always been women that were
anyway.
influential in
let's
history.
let's get on to the vote. So what I don't understand is, a part of your message, I've researched you today, and hang on a minute.
Okay.
Your big push is that you care about men and you don't think that men are getting enough of a say. But
Well, I care about
hang
women
on,
too.
I haven't
Care
made
about
the
women
point
too,
yet. Because of feminism, okay? What I wonder is when you start making calls out like repeal the 19th, women shouldn't be allowed to vote. How is that helping young men? Because these young men have women in their lives, they have mothers, they have sisters, they have teachers, and they turn around, they don't know how to act around women because you're giving them license to be misogynistic.
I wouldn't call it misogynistic. I say be equal. So again.
Okay, so
How is it being equal if you're taking away like? Just, oh my God! I really want to hurt Pearl.
okay, say okay. So what say your statement.
I think this is crazy. Like, yeah, she is giving the world the men to be misogynistic. I don't like men being misogynistic. They don't even treat us equal half the time, and there are men who are still like that, and I hate it with a passion. Like, I had to put up with it. IED. It makes me very uncomfortable, but I can't say anything. It's because it's my job. It's my lifeline. Like, come on, think about this. Like, oh my God. No.
So what
We
she
don't need to fight through. It's the men who should.
so what she's saying, if the women at this point, I think she's stating at this point, if women really want the agency, that women should have equality in that sense too. That women should be able to step up to that. We'll continue.
Again,
I
men
think
do
that's what
all of
most
the.
feminists are
Well,
saying.
then, okay, I'd love for the feminists. Please apply for the oil rigs. Please go do the hard jobs in society.
Why
They're
don't you
open.
go and
They're
work there?
hiring because I don't equate for. I don't think men or women are equal until we do the equal work. So no, listen. Go apply to be on the oil rigs. Go be a plumber. Go be an electrician. Go be on the front lines of the military, and then we should have equal rights. But until feminists are willing to do that, I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
Okay, well, I don't think that I'm physically built.
Okay, that's kind of her statement. So
I get it, okay? But again, I've seen women who have applied for some of these jobs and they don't get it or they're mistreated on those situations. I've seen that. It's not like I haven't seen it. I've seen women, I've met women who have kind of done those jobs. But we're not talked about because because we're just that, that small percentage who applied to those jobs, but they're there. They do exist, but there's a lot of mistreatment and the fight for their lives on that kind of stuff. I have seen that. It's not like, oh my God, I can't Oh my
All
God.
right. Well,
I've heard it. I've had people who were in those jobs and was mistreated and not taken seriously. They're not going to be treated equal either way. Men don't want us to roll in their places. Yes, I've met those women. I know they exist. Whether they're talked about, that's another discussion.
all right. Let's continue.
That you might be, but I'm absolutely
That's
not.
a
You,
bit-
no, but you
Wow.
said you were
That
a
was-
volleyball.
Wow.
You said you were a volleyball player, and so you've got more strength than I do. I don't think
But
that
I don't
can
have
do
more
those
strength. I don't have
jobs.
more strength
But
than
I'm
the
not gonna
average
take your
man.
right away to
I don't
do
have
it.
I don't have more strength than the average man. But again, it goes back to go be a plumber. You want to be equal, go be
That's
You
equal.
also, but you want divorce to be made illegal.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because I don't think what we have today is really marriage.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that? Just that little thesis right
About
there.
marriage?
Okay, that thesis.
You know
statement.
my stance on marriage. There's absolute reason why men are the worst. I mean, men and women are just as equal at fault when it comes to divorcing. So,
Let's. Do you want me to continue, or do you want to?
yeah, just
Do you want
continue.
to
Let's
do a
just-
state? You want your own thesis statement?
Just go ahead and play. I really want to beat this woman
Okay,
up.
I'll rewind it a little bit so we can hear her thesis a little bit.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Wait.
But
You want divorce to be made illegal.
yes.
Why?
Yes, because I don't think what we have today is really marriage. What is marriage? It's for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. That's what marriage is supposed to be. But feminists have ruined marriage for the people that actually believe in marriage.
How?
When there's a 50% divorce rate and the average marriage
Why is that all down
8
to the
years.
women, though?
I
Actually, what's the divorce rate at the moment? Actually,
The U.S. in total.
let's see. Let's just look it up. What is the current? She says 50. She always throws out a lot of stuff, and I never.
Numbers.
Yeah, some people can act smart just by saying numbers. Divorce. Divorce.
How about the
rate
men who are abusive or
rates
lied
in
or
America, we'll just say-
cheating?
Okay, so it's approximately American Psychology Association, approximately 40 to 50% of first marriages end in divorce. The divorce rate for a second marriage is even higher, with approximately 60 to 67%. Okay, so you have you got a coin flip for the first marriage, and if you get married again, you have a 2 in 3 chance that you're going to get divorced. So, okay, let's continue. Sorry, were you saying something?
No, I don't remember now. I'm fuming right now.
All right, let's continue.
This is pissing me off.
Yeah, do you have a statement for what you said right there?
Men do the same thing. They're just as equal in that divorce. Some of them want divorce before the women even think about it. That's what's sucky. It's, yeah, I just don't understand it because it's in the relationship, and sometimes it's the men who instigate it or the women, depending on the situation. It's same thing. It's either way. I mean, both genders are very big culprits in the situation. If marriages work.
All right, let's continue then.
didn't say that it was all down to the women.
So why feminists ruin it?
You asked why I want divorce to be banned.
Yeah.
Can I finish
Yeah.
that first? So I'm saying, the people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
But doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin? So you wouldn't be able to get married.
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly
There's-
about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint.
Did you see his face? Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh damn, you let a cat fight happening.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm trying to parse some of this stuff. So she's saying. So there are people that are in relationships who are in long-term relationships that never get married because it's not their thing, right? And I think that that's fair. And the quote, and there's like some old traditionalists who believe in the sanctity, the quote sanctity of marriage, where you go for the classic vows of what she's saying. What was it? For better or worse, sick or poor. That old classics, the old classic vows, basically, right? And it's like when people, it's like saying divorce is basically kind of a slap in the face in those vows, basically. And that the weird thing is, like, when it comes to these debates with certain people's like this, it's when they throw a nugget of truth, right? That is a nugget of truth. Like, why ruin a sacred oath like that when you can just be in a long-term relationship? Because there are
Then she
traditional.
brings a point. She wants to keep marriages as the sanctity of being a virgin till you have
So
married.
yeah, there's a whole there's a whole rabbit hole. We can do
so much.
We can do an entire, if you want, we can do an entire bonus episode just about this one.
Look, I probably want to be punching somebody by the end of the
we will not
podcast.
We will not do it in person. I want that for sure. But yeah.
Oh, what? You can't handle my wrath?
No, because I'll make sure you lose that right to vote if I had to. She is not allowed to not punch. She lose that right to vote at that point. But it's one of those things where, bruh. Yeah, it's like, it's when it comes to these debates and stuff like that. It's just like it's with any of these statements. It's like when you throw a nugget of truths, it's like, I do agree with that, and then you kind of ignore the bad parts of that statement. Like, wait a second, she's trying to say no divorce at all. But wait, I do agree with her. Like, latency, yeah. But anyways, any thoughts of just kind of that just statement?
I get the idea of sanctity in marriage. I get it, but again, not everything is inappropriate. I mean, it's like telling women, who are being, the marriage is, all lovey-dovey in the dating, and then they get married, and then the guy is a complete jerk and starts doing the complete opposite of what he ever told her. That was a complete fucking lie. It's abuse. And then the abuse starts. Hello?
We've done so many Am I the Asshole stories with that.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay.
I've heard so many stories before the asshole stories.
All right. Do you have any other statements, or we can continue?
Just go ahead, continue.
Okay. I'll rewind a little bit here.
I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint. I wish I was. But, we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
No, but I just don't think it's fair that you get to be here and you get to be paid for your views, and you're telling other women that they shouldn't be allowed to.
I think...
Hang on. Okay, if I may, at some stage jump in. Isn't the whole point of being a feminist, though, that women are entitled to have their own views?
Absolutely.
So she's perfectly entitled to her views.
Yeah, but you can't...
You might not like them.
But I'm here to challenge
But isn't she
them.
exercising her right as a... Are you a feminist?
No, I am not.
Really?
No, I wouldn't. Don't go that far.
You don't want to be a feminist?
No, because I think if feminists really believed in equality, but you guys don't, I would love for you. There is an oil rig hiring. There is an engineering
I would actually love to see Ava Satin on an oil rig.
Seriously. There is a building being built next to my building. Go do it, feminists. Go do it. And me, I'm
doing the same job that I'm doing right now.
When you find the man you want to get married to, are you saying you will be with that man whatever happens the rest of your life?
Yes, for the vows that we're supposed to live by.
How do you know you can keep them?
I mean, I think it's a choice. And that's the thing, like, women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
Ava.
Okay. I see you have something to say. I hear you have something to say. Okay. Do you want to process what you want to say, or you want to say
Marriage is not... Oh my God.
Okay,
not about happiness. What is it then? It feels like a task, a chore. And you got to stick it in for the children, and the children read off of it, and then they're unhappy. That's so stupid. Children are unhappy that their parents are unhappy. They're sticking it out because we got to wait for the children to grow up, and then we can divorce. And again, the children are not getting... That's judgmental to their health, mental health, and their psyche. That is so wrong. So wrong. They're not unhappy. They shouldn't be together. They should be divorced, and maybe they're happier units just separated. Just ah. Okay.
Okay, now that you vented, relay your statement a little bit more poignant.
Marriage is not about happiness. It should be about happiness because you found somebody who's willing to work with you as an equal, make each other happy to grow and stronger and as a unit to be better parents to children if you decide to have children.
Actually, is in those vows, is there anything about happiness at all? Actually,
No,
I don't
no,
think
it sounds like marriage
Wait.
is a duty of a chore.
I
It's
think
a
it is.
huge chore
Actually,
task. It is
actually,
not.
let's look up tra- traditional marriage vows. I think that's what you're looking
Ah,
for.
that's what it is.
Traditional marriage.
Please don't have your sister who's getting married to say those. I will. It's not what it's meant for.
Traditional marriage vows. Let's see here. Husband, wife, blah blah blah. Okay, here we go. This is the thing. Do you take this person? Yeah. To have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish until till parted by death. That's new.
Mm-hmm.
This is my solemn vow. Yeah, there's nothing about happiness in this. She's right. It's not about happiness, Liz. It's about being for each other. For richer.
Being a chore. All right, got it.
You gotta remember. You gotta see these vows, Liz. The vows you're
It's a
saying.
chore.
It's not about happiness.
It's a chore. Okay, got it. I don't want to do that chore. I do not want to have that
So
chore.
she's
I
not
don't want
wrong.
that duty.
So she is not wrong. Technically speaking, she is not wrong.
She's not wrong, but yeah.
Like okay,
I
like
don't
I
want to
said,
do that chore. I don't want to do that task. It sounds like a lengthy event. No, that we're just supposed to get married because that's what we're supposed to do. Fuck no. This woman's pissing me off. Pearl, you need to go.
I'm
back.
looking at some other ones. There's the Jewish one, the Catholic one. A lot of them. There's very few that say anything about happiness. Why the fuck? Why is no one supposed to be happy?
I don't know, but if I want to be married, I want to be happy in that marriage, not sad and
That's what-
depressed, and feel like it's a chore and a task that I don't need.
Oh wait, I think I found one. It's the Hindu ones. Let me look at the Hindu ones. Spiritual strength, no. Harmonious relationship. Ooh, okay, that's something good.
Harmonious. So means that's gonna have to be harmony, some happiness.
Oh, this one. Oh, the Hindu vows aren't that actually bad. The Hindu vows, traditional Hindu vows. That's just me reading off a site. It says here at Hindu weddings, couples recite a set of vows known as the. Oh, I'm gonna fuck this up. Saptapadi, the 7 steps. These are a list of promises that are recited as a couple walk around a ring of fire to honor Agni, the Hindu god of fire, as they walk and state the following. Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Make your sister do that.
All right. No, I don't think she wants to ruin the dress. But anyways, it says here. Okay. So here are the 7 vows. These are the 7 vows. The fulfillment of material needs of the families for prosperity, for the development of physical, mental, and spiritual strength, to acquire wealth by pure and righteous means and spend it wisely, for a harmonious relationship, to excel in raising strong and virtuous children, for togetherness and compatibility, and for friendship, to be dependable and faithful, and for a long companionship. I think happiness is in some of those things. I figured you need some level of happiness for companionship and friendship. But yeah, I think that's pretty. Actually, those aren't pretty bad. But to each of their own. There's multiple different. There's like I'm looking through a lot of these. But yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot you can kind of. There's a lot when it comes to these because we're really dipping our toes in the near political debates here, for sure, to talk of these things. We joke, but yeah, but these are the people. These are the people who are the voices of the people. Don't you love that, Liz? These are the people listen to. All right. Do you?
God.
Okay.
I have my views, my opinions, but I respect them, but I hate them.
All right. Anything you want to continue from this, or what I stated, or anything?
No.
To continue?
Good.
Yeah,
Yes, continue.
I'll continue. I'll rewind a little bit.
But I've got to say,
Oh.
it's a little.
I hate when it goes small. Okay.
And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
Ava, I've got to say, it's a little bit listening to Andrew Tate, where some of it I really don't agree with. I don't agree with the vote stuff. When I hear things like that, I think there'll be a lot of people, especially older generation women perhaps, who think, you know what, she's got a point.
Well, I mean, I believe in agency, so I
Actually, well, like I was saying, like some of the older generation. Actually, my mom's similar to this. She's grown a little bit, but they've grown up in different times, right? Because it's it's a generational thing. But my mom still has these views of classic marriage, basically. I want to say, or togetherness and things like that. Of how relationships should be, things like in that nature. She has grown a little bit, but she still holds some of those beliefs to her heart, you know, like how some relationships should be and shouldn't be, and like to each their own, as long as it's not hurting anyone and everyone's happy. That's always been, I think, our philosophy, right? That's kind of been our mantra, like, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone and you're happy, that's good. But a lot of people would believe in that statement that Pearl just said. It's like that it should be for the family's sake, and it can be hard in general. Anything to state about that, about traditional beliefs?
Yeah, I don't know. Many people have depression.
Has your some of your older relatives or your parent like changed in the last couple of years, or have changed their views, or are they still kind of like dipping into it, but I still hold some of these old beliefs?
I don't really know. I mean, I've had a couple aunts and uncles who have had their 50th anniversary, but they also know it's a working, so they make things work and make each other happy and make the relationship work. But honestly, I've seen a lot of them modernize as time goes, because their children have are, you know, part of the LGBTQ plus community, and I've seen some growth on that. But we're still, I have some traditionals. I'm not positive. I don't really talk to them about this kind of stuff because it's just not something we discuss. So
This is where you hide in the closet. You just keep quiet. Don't talk.
we don't. Well, it's just not something we talk about. It's not something we talk about. You know, family, this person, that person, what's going on in that person's life, or the newest news or the latest drama, but not like something like that. That's something we'd bring up, but it's not common discussion. It's not a common. Just not common. It's just not something we talk about. It's not brought up for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know why.
So would you say you would want more, or you're fine with the status quo, or you want less of it in your family?
I want the developmental growth. Yes, I believe we belong to growing. But again, my family has had only about 2 relationships for the last 50 plus years of marriage, and the rest have been still married or divorced, or one person has been a widow. It's just been a little bit of everything in my family. So I don't think there is any right or wrong to our family discussions about it. So.
Okay. Let's continue then.
I think that if a woman is going to look after her children in divorce, that's absolutely fine. I also believe in your right to speak your mind about it. What I don't understand,
I'd like to say, even before the 1920s,
do you know what I mean?
women could speak openly. This idea that like women couldn't talk the last 500 years. There have been women
I know,
throughout
but the American
history
state
that
education
have been,
system has
that
failed before, and it's failing now.
There have been women throughout history that have read, written, and been very influential in society.
Okay.
So this idea like women could never do it.
Do you know
Don't
what
believe
I
it.
don't understand though is when it gets spiteful, okay? Because you put down a few arguments that I think are perfectly, like, you know, they're kind of evangelical and they're Christian, but those are your right to say it. What I don't understand is when it kind of seeps into this sort of, you call women fat, you say that they shouldn't have
Are they
abortions,
fat?
you say that
Are
they
they
have
fat?
STDs. You know,
I mean, the question is, are they fat? Yes or no?
why pass
The
that kind
average
of
American
judgment?
woman is 170 pounds. That's objectively overweight.
I mean, let's be honest.
That objectively, I don't know. You would, that's a big number
170, depending what.
because it's height. It's height, right? It's based
Yeah,
off
it's
height.
about based on height. Yeah.
Because you'd
So
have so you'd have
170 could look different to me compared to my mother. It could look different to the woman who's 6'5". I mean,
so you would have to do it statistically and actually smart. You would have to take what the average height of the average woman would be, and then kind of do the math to how much the average weight of the average, and then kind of to total it down to a very obscure number to get it to a point where it's like the average woman in the United States will be, which is absurd in itself, but it's not impossible to do, but it's like no one's gonna do it. But that's a strong statement to say. But I will not deny that America for sure has. Where surprisingly, if I remember right, I think we looked this up. It's like America is not the most obese country in the world. I think there's like 2 more countries that are more obese, but that's because of the per capita. Some countries have a little bit more. But for sure, America, it's kind of hard not to make this meme that Americans are overweight. That's kind of sad truth of how our infrastructure and how our diets work. So it kind of sucks that you can kind of take this like just this nugget of truth and just it kind of true, but not.
yeah.
But let's continue. Or
I don't like that Pearl keeps interrupting Ava.
like I said, she's a really bad debater. I trust me. I think we could watch an entire other thing where she does an hour-long debate one-on-one with someone, and it's like really hard. But continue. And those are some spicy topics, Liz. This is not spicy. Spicy topics. Yeah, we could
watch that.
We could do a bonus episode, or I could let you watch it because I think you would have hot takes once you're done watching. We can do just like, all right, just get your notebook out, like. Yeah.
Emotional.
Okay, I think it's just about over. Let's continue.
Honest, we now celebrate morbid obesity as some kind of body positive thing, and it is complete nonsense. So actually, on that point again, there's a bit of truth in
And
that.
this is the problem.
I think that's kind of true. There's a lot. I think we're towards the end. I don't think we'll get more out of this. It's just a lot to what she's saying and what she's doing. Here, give me 1 second, everyone. Okay, so we're back. So, what are some thoughts here, Liz?
Pearl did not have any decency to the next woman. And I know she doesn't consider herself a feminist, but I believe that she should be more respectful to other women. Some of there are some truth to it, but not completely. There's a lot of
Half truths. It's kind of one of those few things where people can say half truths. It's how some people can get away with saying certain things because people will always grab onto the half truth, they ignore the other half, and agree with someone. Like, yes, we should eliminate all the pedophiles at the cost of like something else. Like, yes, I agree that pedophiles should be gone, right? But there's another thing that you kind of ignore that I probably said, and you're just like, but you agree with that one thing. But people will think you're agreeing with the entirety. That's one of the few things where when it comes to people like Pearl, like Andrew Tate, and the like, and these people in these spheres where like people agree with people like this. That's the thing. It's like there's a huge community, and then they become the voices of a group, and then the group grows, and that's how you can get like crazy things. So
I have a lot of disagreements with that Pearl. So,
But at the end of the day,
obviously.
she also has the right to say those things as well.
She has a right to her opinion. I'm not saying no, but I disagree with her a lot of her opinions because it's not my values, not my point of view, and it hasn't been in my take in my life. I've been through a lot of hell and back, and I don't think that hell and back is worth the hell it's worth I want to be. I would rather be happy as a human being, as an individual, and be able to have express my opinions downright openly without criticism. But we all get criticized. It's just the way the world works, and I believe that my vote is important.
Until we take
It's
it
in
away.
all. It's a mostly majority household. My household is female. Simple as that. You count the dog, the brother. No, they're mostly female. And my brother, a male, does not vote. So there you go. There's a popular reason why I should be voting because that person doesn't vote. Fair?
Okay.
Fair.
All right. Does that
my dad's been gone for almost 20 years. I think my mom should be allowed to vote.
she's
Top of the household.
There you go. That's how she gets the right to vote from the widow status.
I honestly, I grew up in that household where my parents were threatening divorce. I would have been a happier situation. Probably. I don't know. Honestly, everybody has a right. I'm not saying have a right in ideas. Maybe, again, I don't agree with Pearl because I've seen those women, but they also have to fight to be where they're at or to defend themselves to be there and not get violated in a lot of other ways.
So, all right. Like I said, there's a lot. We could probably debate this for a while. We could probably do that for another day. Let's just do one last story and then call it good. And we'll be a more positive but bad story.
Ah, shit. Which one?
We're gonna be watching another video.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Yes. They have. Okay. It has.
A couple days ago, there was a big news story that came out about an 8-year-old kid who was turbo pranked by the prank god. It was in a Target. He was told that they were filming a Mr. Beast style video, and it was a blindfolded shopping cart challenge where they'd be given 30 seconds with him and his dad to get as much of the toys that they could into the cart, and he'd buy it for them.
So yeah, that's kind of the premise of what happened. Did you hear anything about this news story?
No, I did not. This is the first time hearing this.
So yeah, so basically to kind of reiterate what Charlie just said, it's basically a dad and son were at Target and got approached by some individuals saying like they were filming a Mr. Beast style video, which we both know are what type of videos he does. He's like these outrageous like kind of challenges, money given away. So people know who Mr. Beast is. If you don't know who Mr. Beast at this point, it's like you probably have stayed away from the internet for the most part. Because he is, if not one of the biggest YouTubers of all time at this point, one of the biggest philanthropists of all time. And to kind of use his name in a sense to kind of then prank an 8-year-old kid, that's kind of shitty, you know? Like some people, some kids look up to him. Like even if I got lucky enough to be part of one of these things, I'd be like, fuck, that's crazy cool, you know? But I can only imagine a kid, how big that would be, right? Continue.
And the prank was, he didn't buy it for them. Instead, him and his friend just ran away giggling, and then both probably had to start hyperventilating into a paper bag in order to come down from the adrenaline rush of lying to an 8-year-old for their YouTube video. And this became a bit of a big story because you've got to be a pretty psychotic douchebag to prank an 8-year-old, but an even bigger, ghoulish asshole to prank a hearing-impaired 8-year-old whose dream it was to be part of a Mr. Beast video. So
That's sad. That's sad.
So let's go over this whole situation as well as his response, because
yeah, he put out a response. I thought this was gonna be like gone and everything, but the guy who pranked the kid put out a response to defend himself.
This shameless lobotomite actually came forward and put his face on it, whereas previously no one really knew who this was. But now the mayor of Doofus Town has come forward with a press conference here in order to address it personally. So I can't wait to show you what this guy looks like and how he tries to rationalize it.
Saturday for 8-year-old Gabe Lyles and his dad TJ until 3 men walked up and
That was the original video I was going to use, but then like, oh, Charlie covered it. Perfect.
said they were working with the YouTuber Mr. Beast.
Said that they wanted to do a fill the cart challenge where we would be blindfolded. Within 30 seconds, whatever we could put within the cart, they'll pay for.
That was the whole premise of the prank, and this is pretty much what modern pranks are. Just being as cruel as possible and making strangers' days just worse for the sake of your own content to try and fill your completely worthless, dead-on-arrival, doomed-to-failure TikTok career. Now, I'm going to skip around a little bit and show you a clip from his response because he's refuting the claim that he labeled it a Mr. Beast video to the kid and his dad. Not that it really matters that much, that doesn't really change how fucking degenerate this garbage is in the first place, but I will just show you that because he's trying to make it seem like in his response he's in the right, and that the dad is a liar, and insinuates that he's lying for the sake of clout, which is absolutely hilarious, the lack of self-awareness to make a claim like that from his position.
We're working with the YouTuber Mr. Beast.
We're kind of like Mr. Beast, not really though.
So this is coming from his unedited video that was filmed, but it's extremely possible that he's leaving out the shit that makes him look much worse and corroborates what the dad was saying. But regardless, let's say he's being 100% truthful here. Even just watching that clip, I think it's extremely easy to recognize why it'd be confusing and people would think that he was coming up like he was associated with Mr. Beast. He fucking ambushed these people in public and then said, it's time for a blindfolded shopping spree challenge, and then mentioned Mr. Beast. Like, I'm imagining he's coming from a privileged background where this maybe isn't that big of a deal, but to a family that doesn't come from that kind of background, this is a like dream come true moment. So just getting that opportunity, immediately your heart's going to be racing and you're going to, you know, maybe mishear a couple of things in excitement. Not
I agree. When moments of like excitement, things like that, you go kind of like awestruck, right? You're like, and you either mishear something or you just forget something in the moment. So it can happen. Mostly when it's a kid who's like, Mr. Beast. All you hear is when you hear just the word Mr. Beast, you don't kind of hear anything else out there. But yeah, it's overall, yeah. The evidence he put out, or just that little snippet, is like, even if it's like I didn't say I was with Mr. Beast, but you kind of just mentioned you were kind of like Mr. Beast. And it's just like that, the name Mr. Beast kind of has a lot of staying power.
Not maliciously. So I don't think the dad was lying on purpose here, and he does name drop Mr. Beast, so that's something that would absolutely stick with you after the fact. So I think it's very easy to get confused that this guy is associated with Mr. Beast. I don't think he was making that claim in order to lie on purpose here.
Mr. Beast is one of Gabe's favorite YouTubers. He often makes videos about challenges where he gives away free stuff. So TJ and Gabe believed that the men were working with Mr. Beast. They both put on a blindfold and started filling their cart. And then TJ heard the men running away.
I legitimately think being a prankster is one of the most pathetic things you can ever do with your life. I actually have more respect for people that'll just lick the toilet seats clean at a gas station. At least they're providing some kind of public service, whereas pranksters do nothing but bring the rest of the world down. It's like the last-ditch effort for talentless losers to try and make some kind of name for themselves or get some kind of attention or monetization out of like viral videos that are designed to make people hate you. So you're basically just turning your whole life into a punching bag and a spittoon for everyone to spit on you for, and hope that you get a couple of doubloons out of it along the way. There is nothing more embarrassing. I'd even go as far as to wager that if you ran a long-term scientific study on pranksters, you would find a high correlation behind being a prankster and being a cuck. I think one of the core things that drives someone to being a prankster is having a humiliation fetish, which is no different than cuckoldry. But at least with most cuckolds, it's a private fetish between consenting adults, whereas pranksters, their humiliation fetish has no one consenting to it and is just subjecting the public around them to it. It's making them victims of their humiliation fetish. All in all though, I just can't fucking stand public nuisance pranksters. Absolute dog shit content and absolutely horrible fucking losers. I just don't understand how someone has so little shame to prank an 8-year-old and think that they're somehow like a badass or a good prankster.
My heart sank, 100%. The very last thing in this world I want to do is hurt him.
It broke my heart because I thought my dreams were coming true.
That's disappointing. You know,
It's very disappointing to an 8-year-old, especially.
like those are like because he's never gonna forget this.
Oh, he's gonna be scarred for life.
So, do you have any thoughts, just kind of in the general thing of just like pranksters and YouTube, how kind of?
Yeah, I agree with this guy completely. I mean, he said it verbatim how I felt, so that's pretty good.
You gotta love Charlie. He has a way with words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shopping cart challenge was just a mean prank, and it was one comment in particular that upset TJ.
My son leaned in and said that he couldn't hear them because he had to wear hearing aids, and they said that's why we are choosing you for this challenge.
It is actually heartbreaking listening to the kid talk about this. It's very clear this meant a lot to him. This is like a life-changing moment for a child. Like, to actually have your dreams come true, your favorite YouTuber is doing your favorite challenge with you, like that's something so special that he'd remember for the rest of his life.
I saw you in shock. What are your thoughts right now?
Only doing it because you have hearing aids in. Wow. So, oh my God. I wear hearing aids myself, so damn. I don't even know what to say. I feel hurt for the kid just because I've been in that situation. I wear hearing aids. I wore them on and off when I was a kid, and now I'm as an adult. I'm like, damn, I feel so much pain. I feel that resonates with me.
And now it will still be something he remembers for the rest of his life, but in a very negative way. He'll remember this as the day he realized he can't just fucking trust people in the world anymore. It's like,
that is, I think, one of the worst moments in life. When you lose that sense of trust in the world. I don't know when you lost it, but I lost it at an early age. So I learned early not to trust people in life. So it's interesting to like for any child to lose that level of trust. Like there's like goofy little things that can make you feel like you're not gonna do that to me again. But then there's moments when the world like hits you, like you just can't trust anyone. Do you remember a moment in your life when you just like lost that level of trust in the world? Like
I lost trust. Yeah, when I was young too. So, yeah, I had a sibling who didn't always show up to when they were going to say they were going to show up.
Yeah, it can be very, very daunting, and it kind of sucks that it had to be done like this.
the first time he gets scammed in RuneScape. Now, the father mentioned that the child is hearing impaired and that the pranksters said that, you know, that's why we want to do this challenge with you. And this is something that the prankster in question is once again refuting.
And they said that's why we are choosing you for this challenge, because of the hearing loss.
Huh? Do you guys want to be in a quick video?
The Southington town.
And that's his proof that he didn't know about the hearing impairment.
That little
that
clip
one
right there.
Literally split-second clip. Not exactly the most robust evidence. Didn't build the best defense case here. Once again, he very easily could have just cut out the part where the hearing impairment was mentioned. I don't know what was or was not said there. I don't have access to the security camera feed there at the store or anything. But I'm much more inclined to believe the father and the child here, the victims of the prank, as opposed to this fucking asshole who very easily could just not show those parts.
The Southington Town Commission for Persons with Disabilities gave TJ a $200 gift card, and Target matched it. On Sunday, Gabe's dreams of a shopping spree came true.
So he got it. He got something. You know, at least here's the thing. The world's not that bad sometimes. It can break you, but there are people out there who will support you, that are there to bring you back up. We've had stories like that. This is one story like that where a community saw this, decided, you know, let's help this kid, and then Target matched it. So it was, you know, he got a shopping spree, but it was at the cost of basically losing the trust of the world. And at that moment, that's very heartbreaking to just hit that low. You get back up, but it's kind of hard when that's, what did it cost to get to that point, really?
Yeah.
I pick out Nerf guns, water balloons, and and water guns.
At least there's a happy ending to the story. He did get to have his shopping spree and get the toys that he wanted to get. And he seems to have like a really great positive attitude in general. So I'm super happy to hear that there was some kindness shown his way.
Also, I don't think Charlie mentions this in video because I watched this yesterday. But if he doesn't mention it, Mr. Beast heard about this story and he's actually going to try to do something with the dad and the kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
So there is a positive light, but like I said, at what cost, really, right? But at least something is going to happen to it. So let's just finish this up.
To let him actually be able to do the shopping spree. And now I want to add on to that happy ending by insulting the prankster who proudly showcases himself as the one behind it. So let's make fun of this asshole.
Before we continue the video, I just want to clear the air for anyone that hates me right now, that wants to rip off my beard or shave my eyebrows or rip my ears off or something.
It's almost sadder than the prank itself that he called.
Okay, so this is the guy and his friends, who did it. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're substituting this for "Am I the Asshole" story. What do you think? Was he the asshole?
He is an asshole. He's an asshole for doing that and then running away.
Well, that was the prank. That was the prank, Liz. That was the prank. Like make him think it's a video and let your friend away. But yeah,
I'm doing that to you. Hey, Zeus, come over here. Run away.
So yeah, we're using this as a substitute, but he's the asshole. Like no matter what you said, like no matter what you can't say, whatever the rest of the response is, you can't really spin this in a good light for you. Like when anything you don't target kids. That's a big super no. Because you're just
He's
emotional.
not even a good looking guy, and his room looked like crap. I was watching the rotated chair. I was like,
bro, she's taking the Charlie route and just insulting the guy.
I am.
You're
an asshole to the kid. I'm gonna do.
You can go ahead and insult him, Liz. This is your chance.
He's not. He might have a nice chair, but he's not. His room looked like crap. So, he's not all that in a bag of chips. Just saying.
There you go, Liz's roast right there. But yeah, he is the asshole. We substituted that for "Are We the Asshole" story. I think that's a good way to kind of like close this one. To just kind of see a little bit of a face to all this and the actual faces to the entire story, because when we do the "Am I the Asshole" stories, we just get the words and we can kind of use our minds to kind of read it, but having some faces to these things. And for anyone who's listening to this, we do apologize, but you can kind of clarify, like assholes are assholes no matter what.
Yep.
But yeah, any final thoughts on this story? Any of the stories we talked about? In general,
I think we covered what we were wanting to cover on this, and I just feel sorry for the family. Women, you're allowed to vote, and I think that's the right thing to do.
Until you lose it, just wait. We're working. We're working on it.
No, I'm not working on it. I'm not working on
exactly.
that.
Liz is not working on anything to help you guys, so it's even better. One less person to work on it.
Shut up! I am voting, unlike you, Mister.
I vote. Most of my sisters actually don't vote, so that's
shame on them. I'm gonna have to rattle them up and get them voting.
Not a single fuck was given this day.
Like we'll see what the world turns out, because little by little, you guys are just losing every little bit. And there's people like Pearl who are advocating for that. The big voices turn wheels. Oh no, what's the phrase? Big voices move people. Or loud voices. Is it loud voices move people?
I don't know. I think you have it right the first time.
I think so.
Voices move it.
Something. It's something. You know what I'm saying. For anyone listening, you can comment down below to let me know what the actual phrase is. But yeah, he's the asshole.
They'll just tell us to Google it.
We're done. We're at the end of the story. We're fine. I'm done. I'm not going any more shit. You guys heard it. Let us know what you guys thought of this episode. If you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, you can leave a comment down below. If you're any of the podcasting platforms, let us know through social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or Threads, or Facebook. I always forget Facebook. But yeah, you can let us know through that. All the links are down below. You can support us by talking about the podcast by word of mouth, or supporting us financially by purchasing merch at merch.tyrantdominus.com or subscribing for all the bonus episodes. So yeah, any other words, Liz?
Nope, I think you said it for me. Appreciate it, guys. I hope you listen to us and spread the word. Bring it out to be live again.
One day.
One day.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thanks again for listening or watching. Until next time. See ya.